Greetings and good morning, everyone, and also to those online. Welcome to Temple Buddhist Center's Sunday meditation service. I'm Kristen, and I'm honored to be of service this morning. We hope our service this morning finds you happy and healthy, but know that if you are struggling, we hope that Temple Buddhist Center can be a source of refuge for you as we open our hearts to you and your loved ones. Let's begin this morning with a few conscious breaths, taking a few moments to ground, to experience the body, and to breathe together. If you are struggling, conscious breathing is where you seal the mouth, breathe deeply through the nose, and pause for a moment before releasing slowly so that the exhale is longer than the inhale. Let's begin. Breathing in, pausing just a moment, feeling the fullness of the lungs, releasing slowly, and as you release, checking in with the body, just being aware what is present and alive in the body right now. A second conscious breath, pausing just a moment, ventilating this precious human form, then releasing slowly. As you release, see if you can release any worry or concerns from the week, all the energy of doing, going, striving, and accomplishing. Just allow yourself a few moments to cultivate the energy of being, not doing. A third conscious breath together, releasing slowly. And as you release, taking time to invite your awareness to the present moment, fully arriving in the here and now. Here at Temple Buddhist Center, we like to begin services with a chant. Chanting is an integral part of every tradition, and it's not about being a singer. I will let Victor kind of let us know what the chant is and start us off.
Thank you, Kristen. Good morning, everyone. Our chant this morning is Om Shanti Sat Chitananda. Om Shanti Sat Chitananda. And in the Sanskrit tradition, Shanti means peace, and Sat Chitananda is a three-part word that means truth, consciousness, and bliss. And of course, Om is the seed sound, or the sound of the universe, reminding us that each one of us is a beautiful note in a grand cosmic symphony forever playing. And so, Om Shanti Sat Chitananda. Let's begin with a conscious breath together. Together. Om Shanti Sat Chitananda. 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 Om Shanti Satchitananda. Om Shanti Satchitananda. Once more. Om Shanti Satchitananda.
Thank you, Victor. I wanted to draw your attention to the back of the meditation hall. There are blankets and lozenges, tissues, and hearing devices if necessary. Here at TBC, we practice Western Buddhism, a blend of Eastern philosophy and Western psychology. This new and exciting form of spirituality is dynamic, inclusive, and focuses on core Buddhist insights, mindfulness, meditation, and their practical application in our daily life. Our goal here isn't to get everyone to agree on one lineage or philosophy. Rather, it's on cultivating shared experience in mindfulness, oneness, and love. Whether we are chanting, meditating, or sharing from the heart, we respect that you'll participate only at the level that feels comfortable for you. We take refuge in the three jewels and acknowledge these core values as expression of the awakened mind: the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. We value the awareness of our own Buddha nature, as well as the Buddha nature of all beings, allowing a new perspective to this and every precious moment. The second jewel is the Dharma, the truth teachings that release us from fear and delusion and help us to realize the true nature of who we are. And the Sangha, all of us, the spiritual community, the essential part of growth where we practice the teachings together and support each other on every step of the path. Please, at this time, please silence any electronic devices as we prepare for a meditation environment. Now let's prepare for the prayer of refuge. We'll recite this together 3 times. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. As we enter a time of meditation, if you have an extensive practice, then I invite you to practice in a way that is fitting for you this morning. If you are new to meditation, then we will begin with an opening dedication. We will sound the bell 3 times. There will be a brief guided meditation, and then we'll spend approximately 11 to 15 minutes in noble silence. Let's begin by breathing together. Body, speech, and mind In perfect oneness, I send my heart with the sound of the bell. May the hearers awaken from forgetfulness, transcend the path of anxiety and sorrow, and realize the true nature of who they are.
And as the sound of the bell recedes, guiding us into stillness, if you need to take another conscious breath or two, or make any micro adjustments in your posture, whatever you need to do to partner with the body to become more gentle, easy, and light. Bringing your awareness to the forehead, releasing any tension in the eyebrows or the jaw. The shoulders relax completely and drop. Arms are graceful at your side, and we soften the belly, releasing it fully. And as the breath settles in now to its natural flow, its natural rhythm, the body is gentle and spacious, easy and light. We can bring our awareness to awareness itself. Noticing when we become aware of a sound inside the room or out in the hallway. And at the same moment that the mind becomes engaged with this sound is the same moment that we gently return to the rise and fall of the tummy. We return to this present moment breath. You might become aware that the mind has been distracted by a sensation, like the feeling of hot or cold, or an itch or an ache. In the same moment that this occurs is the same moment that we lovingly return to the rise and fall of the tummy in this present moment breath. The breath is always in the present moment, and so is a good teacher. You might notice that the mind has become engaged with thinking, perhaps a single thought or even a string of thoughts. The moment you become aware of this is not a moment to chastise yourself, to judge or punish. It's a moment of celebration. Every moment that we can return to the breath is an awakened moment. Awakening from the dream of thought. And so connected to the breath, the body is easy, gentle. The mind is clear, yet receptive to whatever arises. And the heart is open. We can move more deeply into our meditation. I close my eyes and I see clearly. I stop trying to listen and I hear truth. I am silent, yet my heart sings. I seek no contact and find union. I am still and move forward. I am gentle and need no strength. I am humble and remain whole, returning again and again to the breath, returning again and again home. And so I invite you to remain in a meditative state, connected with the breath. The body is easy and light. As you bring your awareness to the sense door of sound, noticing the sound of my voice or the sound of the air handlers in the room. And as you become aware of the sense door of sound, can you keep 5% of your awareness on the still silence within that is always there? Next, I invite you to bring your awareness to the sense door of touch as you become aware of the feeling of your clothing upon your skin, or the feeling of the chair or the cushion beneath you. And as you become aware of matter, material, and form, at the same time, can you keep 5% of your awareness on that which is formless? In other words, awareness of awareness. Next, I invite you to bring your awareness to the sense door of sight. As you slowly begin to open your eyes, just allowing in some light, not focusing heavily on anything, just letting the objects come to you. And as you become aware of things and objects and stuff, at the same time, can you keep 5% of your awareness on the space around them? The space in this room. The space around this building. The space around our planet. Next, I invite you to bring your awareness to the breath as we take a conscious breath together. And as you release, become present in this time, in this place, in the here and the now. Thank you, Christine. Good morning, everybody. I am so excited, and I have no idea why. I just am. Before we get started today, talking on the talk, Practicing Cessation, I did want to take a moment to acknowledge the tremendous amount of upheaval in our society right now, both socially, politically, and these big changes can bring about big emotions. And although anger is oftentimes thought of as an emotion that moves us to action, where is it written that we have to be angry to act? As practitioners, we are built for times like these. Our practice does not change. We focus and we respond to the world the same way we always do. We process and purify the emotions so that we are better able to respond to the world from a place of love, compassion, and understanding. In a world filled with fear and rage, does it need more of that from us? Does it need more fear, more rage, more anger? Or does it need more love, compassion, and understanding. Our practice is not passive. We can respond to the world with a tremendous ferocity, but we do so with a very clear heart, not filled with anger, not filled with rage. As Ram Dass used to say to his students who would just, dogpile all of the world's problems, and he would sit there and listen to them all, and he says, our practice doesn't change. At the end of the day, we do the same thing. We find stillness, we open our hearts, and we ask, what is mine to do? And from there, we respond to the world. And it can be fierce, but we do so from a place of love. So I just wanted to bring that out and acknowledge all that is going on in our world right now. So let's move to the Dharma talk itself, practicing cessation. I want to bring to your attention those moments when you have experienced those aha moments. Aha, like the one I experienced when I realized that I misspelled practicing on Facebook and Instagram and the entire internet so that the whole world could see my little blooper there. So when you suddenly realize something exists that you never could have fathomed before, like, for example, the other side of those little Gestalt figure ground shifts like these. Oh, we get to play. So many of you have seen these before. They're not exactly new. And many of you right now can probably see both sides, or maybe not. But do you remember when you first experienced these? You could only see one side of it until you became determined to figure out what everybody was talking about. What do you mean there's two animals in the picture? I only see a tree. And yet, if you look closely, you can see a gorilla and a lioness. And of course, the vase is a vase, or is it two profiles, two people looking at each other. You see their nose and their mouth. And of course, the last one on the end there, a lot of people see a little man playing a saxophone. Or do you see a woman who is, in some cases, has, lots of hair and is maybe touching her neck. So you see her two eyes and her nose. So these figure ground shifts, they're always fun to play with. And what's fascinating is that once you see both sides, you can't not see them. But there was a time when all you could see was the one thing. And then we're able to, with this new knowledge, all of a sudden we can see both sides to that. So I've had similar experiences in life that I want to share with you. For example, there was a time when I was walking in Geyser Basin at Yellowstone National Park on a midnight trek during a full moon. And I experienced something that I had no idea existed. I saw a moonbow. A moonbow. It's like, oh my gosh, who knew that there could be rainbows at midnight? And in working with the practice of chanting and a chanting master, as I was working with this, I discovered and learned that not all chants have, for example, a literary meaning to them. Some of the sounds are simply sacred sounds put together in a specific series that, like a combination lock, unlocks various energy patterns within us. I thought that all the chants had to have an actual meaning and they were sequential. It's like I tell the story sometimes of being in Japan and the billboards just say things like joy, luck, tone poems. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. And my host said, in Japan, they don't have to. We just like those words together. And I'm like, wait, you can do that? These little aha moments. And also things like that. Also discovering that Alt-Shift-4 allows me to capture anything I want to on my computer screen. I'm like, what? So these aha moments I want to talk about because working with the third noble truth is a powerful practice that provides essential wisdoms that can serve us, especially in this moment in time. In the same way that we practice understanding dukkha in the first noble truth, we were empowered to be more present and to be able to live from the heart. And as we had abandoned clinging in the second noble truth, we were empowered to live from our deepest values, no matter how much wanting or aversion was present. Philip Moffat writes, so too, when we practice realizing cessation, we will be empowered to face loss and to be far less defined by our egoic states of mind. And in this way, we continue to cultivate the heart of awakening and to be of service to all beings in all places. So the third noble truth tells us that which obscures our enlightened nature is temporary. Suffering can end because fear, greed, and ignorance can be purified. In the doctor's version of the Four Noble Truths, you remember that the whole thing is laid out like a prescription. The first noble truth is the symptoms. Life is suffering. The second noble truth is the diagnosis. The cause of suffering is clinging and aversion. And the third noble truth is there is a way out of suffering. There is a cessation of suffering. This is the prognosis. And finally, the fourth noble truth is the prescription to follow the eightfold noble path. So as we explore and look at this in the doctor's version, the prognosis step from symptom, diagnosis, prognosis, and prescription, the third noble truth is often overlooked by many practitioners. And that's because the third noble truth lacks the shock of number one, life is suffering. Oh. It lacks the grit of number two, which tells us why life is suffering. Because as human beings, we cling or we try to get away from. And so the fourth noble truth, of course, has the action plan. Everybody likes an action plan. But there's the poor little third noble truth that, wait, there's actually 4 musketeers? We only knew of the 3, that one little stepchild that's just kind of left out. And so I would like to today advocate for the third noble truth, and for me, the third noble truth and the insights that it brings are powerful practice. And the invitation today is to work closely this week with the deeper subtleties of dukkha nirada sakha, which is the Pali name for the third noble truth, the cessation of suffering. Now, there is an important aspect of sequence at work here. We draw upon our work with the first and the second noble truth to sustain us here. In the first noble truth, we developed a noble heart, and subsequently, courage. Courage which helps us to maintain steady awareness and an investigative aspect, a playful curiosity, if you will, in the face of any discomfort, fear, or longing that may arise as we explore the cessation of suffering. In the second noble truth, we developed non-attachment, which is critical for realizing cessation, because when our mind becomes still and concentrated, we will sometimes experience altered states, including bliss, euphoria, and as the Christian tradition puts it, a peace that passeth all understanding. And so these glimpses can be so wonderful that we can get attached to them. And we wind up striving to recreate those rather than going on with our practice. In other words, dancing with the one that brought us, instead of getting all wrapped up in the music and the other dancers and all of the glimpses of bliss. It can be very attaching for us to want to chase after those. So, let's get to the heart of the matter. Neurologists have studied and have discovered that the physiological lifespan of an emotion is actually right around 90 seconds. This is truly an amazing thing, and one that very few people have experienced. The reason why is because even though the actual emotion that arises, and this is probably something that you could probably relate to right now, because this week has been filled with lots of instantaneous emotions, but the emotions themselves, according to many neurologists, actually only lasts about 90 seconds, but it seems like it goes on much longer than that. Emotions intensify and seem to last longer due to things like negativity bias, which is that leaning of our minds to want to be with the stuff that's painful, to want to look for the things that are going to kill us, to harm us, that negativity bias. Or it is more intense and lasts longer because our mind often misinterprets things as being more dangerous in the moment than they actually are. You see, the egoic mind's job is to protect us from pain of any kind, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual pain of any kind. It wants to protect us, and it wants to have a job. And so therefore, the more intense, outrageous things are, the more important and needed the ego is. See, you need me. Otherwise, that little thing that just happened could have killed you. Yes, okay, it was just a centipede, all right? It's not a big deal. And another reason is what the Buddha talked about, and that is conditioning. You see, over time, we are able to feel and experience that emotion much more quickly, much more easily, because those pathways in our brain have been well trodden, well laid out. Those synapses have connected. What fires together wires together. And so it becomes much easier, much quicker to be able to feel those responses. And so they last a lot longer because the highway is there and it's easy. And that is called conditioning. And so right here is the radical approach of the third noble truth. The cessation of suffering. And this radicalness is manifested for me, at least in my experience, in this way. We are conditioned to notice when an emotion arises, but pay no attention to it when it dissipates. We are fully aware when we're just trotting along, everything's great, all of a sudden here comes the news, and whoa, we are so there, we are so present with what has just arisen. But we are not present with it 90 seconds later when it dissipates. And there are many reasons for this. It's kind of like when we invite a whole bunch of guests in our house and we hug them and we welcome them and it's great and we never let them leave. Cue Hotel California. And so there are many reasons why this is, and that is because we are often focused on external ways of soothing ourselves, right? We get bad news. Oh, here it comes. Here comes the emotion. Here comes the bodily reaction to what we just found out. And now we're looking for that cookie, that cigarette, that drink, that video game, that television program. Oh, shopping. This is an opportunity for shopping. Or a walk in nature, whatever it is that we can do to not feel this yuckiness. So there we go. And we're never present when it actually begins to dissipate. Another reason for this is because we get caught up in the external factors of why it's here to begin with. Blame, judgment. You did this to me. And now we're focused on the external blame and judgment, and we're not present when it leaves, when it dissipates. This is radical. Do you understand what this third noble truth is asking of us? It is asking for us to be present, to be in the moment when we first experience a shock or a challenge or a difficulty, bad news, and to be fully present with it. And instead of running off with blame and judgment of who put this here, or running off with some external way to soothe ourselves, it'll be all right, it's okay, you're fine, you're gonna make it. Instead of doing all this stuff, it's asking you to, with the heart of a spiritual warrior, fully feel the full range of what you have just experienced and be present with it. And to also be there when it begins to dissipate and leaves. To see the emotion leave is to be present to their cessation. And to be present to their cessation is to realize cessation. Embody it. It's not just a word. It's not just something we're saying. It's an opportunity to be present with cessation, to experience and know that they do leave. To be fully present to what arises and to be fully present with it when it falls is to notice the bottom of your breath. When you have fully expelled all of the air. It is to hear the space between the notes. It is to hear the pauses between the words of a poem. It is to see the space in a room instead of the objects in it. It is to become aware of the other side of that figure ground shift. And once we have seen it, we can't not see it. Once you embody and become aware of cessation, you can't not be present with those things as they leave. But it's not easy. It's not how we're wired. 57 years of being aware of when all the guests show up and never noticing them leave has created quite a full house. We can begin to open the doors and the windows and start to let them go, which they were always meant to. We were never built to hang on to these experiences, these traumas, these shocks, this bad news. We were meant to fully feel it, process it, allow the body to do what the body knows to do, to release. And then, with an open heart and a clear mind, we can then respond. But Hollywood and mom and dad and our teachers and our brothers and our sisters have always said, oh, no, if you're going to do something, you have to do so with a cause, with a sword in your hand, and to conquer the bad things in the world. And that's actually never been the truth. That's just Hollywood. Sure, we have the response. Sure, we feel it. And it can be incredibly painful. And we purify, we process, we channel and into Mother Earth. And we simply allow these things to come in. We feel it, we process it. And then from that moment, we now understand that if it's a passionate thing, that if we are moved to action, then we respond to the world, not react to it, not run charging into the fray. So we can explore cessation through a variety of practices, including noticing it in our daily life. Notice what you feel when the light turns red, and then be present with it as it leaves. Notice what you feel when you approach the long line at the checkout stand, and then be present with it as it exits. Notice what you feel when you get a bit of disappointing news, and then be present with it as it's purified, processed, and is gone. We practice with the little things in moment-by-moment daily activities to prepare us for those big moments when it's something that's going to take a little bit of work. That's going to take some steadfastness. It's going to take some courage to sit with. It's going to take our ability to bring equanimity into the situation. I had somebody this week who called me, and it's like, I'm going to the protests, but I don't know how to be with my friends because they are all irate. They're furious. I've already processed that. I've released it. And I know that it's mine to do, to be there to support my friends, to allow my voice to be heard. But they don't understand why I'm so calm. They don't think that this is important to me. And I said, remind them that we don't have to be angry to act. I'm here, aren't I? My presence is my response to the world, not checking out. And something that was beautiful is my friend was like, but I didn't go because I didn't feel that I'd fully processed everything. And I'm like, that's beautiful. Because remember, the world doesn't need more anger and more fury. It needs your heart. It needs your presence. It needs your equanimity. And so we can work with this as practitioners in our daily life, inquiring into and reflecting upon cessation. Yes, we notice when something arises, and the invitation is to be present with it when it ceases, when it leaves. Devoting our attention exclusively to working with it in intense silent meditation practice, as well as our daily activities, when the mind starts to realize that all things are without exception, are by very nature uncertain, temporary, they rise, they fall, they come, they go, then the problems of grasping and attachment start to decrease and simply wither away. You can't not see cessation once you have began to work with it. Even if you are unable to find meditation time, you can work with this through the daily activites. Ajahn Chah, the great Forest Way master, used to say that we focus on the here and now. This is where we can let go of things and resolve all of our difficulties. Awareness unties every knot that we have. Use the method of noting pleasant and unpleasant arising, not only in ourselves, but in the minds of others. And observe how they too are controlled by these feelings. Start to directly experience the other people's moments of pleasant and unpleasant, how they are also always ceasing and seeing, how they are too always being controlled by these feelings that arise, come and go. And notice how Robert often talks about when we receive bad news or a shock or a crisis, it's like ringing a bell. And if you notice that when you ring the bell, it secedes. Everything is like that. But we keep ringing the bell. Because we're in these echo chambers with our friends and, oh yeah, them and us and all this. Oh, it never used to be like this, and how long is it going to be this way? We keep ringing the bell. Blame, judgment, soothe ourselves. Be present with it as it secedes, as it moves into stillness. All things arise in stillness, and to stillness all things go. When the body is hit with that, be present with it, and be present with it as it ceases as well. This brings forth in us compassion and clear seeing in us. When disagreements arise, and in these moments when we are able to experience that temporary cessation of our own reactivity and our own reactive minds to the words and actions of other people, even though it is momentary, you realize that you do not want to habitually be caught up in this reactivity, constantly ringing the bell. And we'll see it in others first. It's just easier that way. I don't know why. But as soon as you see it in others, bring it home and remember what it's like for ourselves as well. Oh my goodness, Victor has spoken too long. I'm sorry. You guys got till 2? Is that all right? Is too good? Sorry. So Kristen, we might just have to do a very quick She'll just do real fast heart practice. So let's first take a breath. Time got away from me. Please accept my apologies. Let's breathe. We'll sound the bell just to end the Dharma talk and to allow us to transition. And I invite you to simply open your heart, perhaps Anjali Mudra, or place your hand on your heart.
All right, I will start our loving kindness practice. And thank you, Victor, for your Dharma talk. I think this fits very well with putting loving kindness into our world. So have a picture of yourself in your mind's eye. See yourself smiling and at ease. And say to yourself these words of loving kindness. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be safe from inner and outer dangers. May I be well in body and mind. May I be at ease and happy. Conscious breath together. Now, in your mind's eye, bring a picture of the world with all of the sentient beings, plants and animals. Maybe view this from space, our wonderful Mother Earth. And then say to yourself, may we be filled with loving kindness. May we be safe from inner and outer dangers. May we be well in body and mind. And may we be at ease and happy. In the true spirit of dana, the Buddhist practice of generosity, temple services are given freely. In the same way, if you choose to give, please give with a generous heart, not in return for something you have received, but so that others who are seeking refuge may find it here in our Sangha at this temple. Dana boxes are located on the lower floor near the door. Thank you to all of our wonderful volunteers and to you, our TBC ambassadors, those who have committed to regular electronic donations. It's not about the amount. The monthly giving helps us to set a budget here at TBC. If you would like to become an ambassador, just click on the Love Offering button on our website, templebuddhistcenter.com. And thank you, Victor, for sharing your wisdom with us today. I know I definitely needed that today. Thank you so much. And to Christine for your beautiful music. And we thank each and every one of you for being here this morning, here together or online. We are all the better for it. We're waiting for Victor to. All right. Let's prepare now to close our service with the bodhicitta dedication. We'll say this all together one time. May the pure, brilliant sun of bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion unstoppably until all are illumined and awakened. And with our hands together in front of our hearts, let's go forth from this place, entering each moment in innocence, guided by the wisdom of our hearts. So open our hands and open our hearts. Shine our light into the world. Namaste.
Downstairs in the Rainbow Room. It's a fabulous opportunity to explore that freedom, that liberation, that play and improvisation can bring to us. Also, coming up very soon, in fact, this week, is our special class offered by Crystal Webster and Sharing Solace called Feel Your Blankety Blank Feels. It is an opportunity to work with the grieving process and the gifts it brings through mindfulness, meditation, resilience, and emotional intelligence. And a very important announcement real fast, beginning mid-July, Temple Buddhist Center is no longer going to offer a 9 a.m. Youth meditation. However, the Angel Loft will still be accepting children ages 4 and under. So our youth meditation is going to be for the 10:30 to 11:30 service only. This is born out of really just organically. We just don't get a lot of little kiddos at the 9 a.m. service. So, and it also helps us with staffing and our expenses as well. So that's going to start mid-July, that we will be offering youth meditation registration at the 10:30 service only, but little kids are always welcome, ages 4 and under, throughout the whole entire morning. So lots of other wonderful things going on. Do not forget our post-service discussion group, which is out the doorway to the left in the Heritage Room, and also Buddha and the Bean every Tuesday morning at 9. And we have recovery programs for Buddhism and 12-step recovery on Sundays at 12:30. And also Dave leads one on Thursdays at 7. So lots of great programs for our community to find spiritual nourishment and connection through Sangha. So again, thank you everyone so much. And as you go into your day,